My basic claim is that in every area outside of computers, there has been deceleration since the 1970s. There's been no meaningful innovation in energy. Energy prices are significantly higher after inflation than they were in 1972. We still have not recovered from the oil shocks of the 70s. Biotechnology, we have 1/3 as many patents being approved by the FDA as were 20 years ago. Deceleration in biotechnology. Clean tech has been an abysmal disaster. Transportation, not moving faster, but moving slower more generally. Even things as basic as food, nanotechnology, you have the whole range of things where not that much progress has happened. The one sort of big exception to this over the last 30, 40 years has been the ongoing computer revolution. And I think it doesn't seem to have been enough to really dramatically raise living standards in this country, but we can sort of hope and pray that perhaps this revolution will accelerate in the years ahead, and that computers alone will save us all. And some of us are doing more than hoping and praying and are actually working to try to bring this about. But I would say that even if you measure the health of the computer industry, I think there are some things you can point to that are not as healthy as you might say. So if you look at, there was a lot of progress, 70s, 80s, 90s. I think by a number of measurements, the last decade, the first decade of the 2000s, saw a deceleration from the 1990s. If you look at the number of people employed in information technology broadly in the US, it went up 100% in the 1990s, up another 17% in the years since 2000. And if you ignore the recession, it's gone up about 38% since 2003. So slower absolute growth, much slower percentage growth. If you measure it in terms of market capitalizations of companies, Google and Amazon, companies created in the late 90s, are worth perhaps 2 to 3 times as much as all technology companies in the US combined created since the year 2000. So again, whether you look at it from the point of view of labor or capital, there has been some sort of strange deceleration. And if I had to sort of project in the next decade ahead, I think we have to at least be open to the possibility that the computer era is also at risk of decelerating. We have a large computer rust belt, which nobody likes to talk about, but it is companies like Cisco, Dell, Hewlett-Packard, Oracle, IBM, where I think the pattern will be to become commodities, no longer innovate, correspondingly cut their labor force and cut their profits in the decade ahead. There are many companies that are on the cusp. Microsoft is probably close to the computer rust belt. One that's shockingly and probably in the computer rust belt is Apple Computer. Is an iPhone 5 where you move the phone jack from the top of the phone to the bottom of the phone, really the sort of thing where we should be all screaming, hallelujah, it's a miracle. Now, I think the one concluding thought on my end is I want to underscore that I think of myself as the optimist and Mark as the pessimist here. And it is because I think we can be doing a lot better. I think we can be looking at a whole range of technologies, futuristic computer technologies, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, space technologies, biotech, next generation life sciences. We should be finding a cure for cancer, for Alzheimer's. And I think it is not a fact of nature that the slowdown has happened. It's a cultural decision. We've become risk averse. We've been regulated to death. We've become incrementalist. And we're not willing to really take the bold steps. We've talked ourselves into thinking that throwing Angry Birds at pigs is the best we can do. And I think we can do better.